When the only sound is the frozen silence of winter, you go to work, throwing mountains of snow back into the sky. And when the track becomes a railroad again, it's Millar time.
They're up top for Brown, right circle loading, centering pass in front, lands a shoots, rebound, scores! Sent home by Connor Bear! Bridgman holds it in for Regina. Back down low, Zach Moore behind the net. Moore tied up, gets it in front, they score! And it's Keets Fawcett with his first as a member of the Regina Pats. Welcome to the Regina Pats, Keets Fawcett. Temple gets it back to the blue line. John Babcock hands it off to Cole Temple. Into the slot, he shoots that one over the net. Rebound in front, scores! Off the end glass, sent home by Zach Moore.
Welcome to Millar Time, also known as Patscast, the unofficial Regina Pats podcast. It's episode 184. It's November 25th. Chris here, Kevin there. How are we doing tonight, Kevin?
Third time's a charm. Hopefully we get this done right this time, but not too bad. We're in a little bit of a deep freeze. Spent yesterday snowblowing because of the 8 inches-ish of snow we got.
Yeah, that's a lot. You feeling it today?
Not as much as I expected. I thought I would be a hurting unit, but
It was light.
not too bad.
It was lighter snow. Yeah, I spent a couple hours snowblowing as well. But yeah, we went from nice to snow to the deep freeze.
Yeah,
We're
nice
in it
to
here.
snow, and then more snow, and then deep freeze.
Yeah. So yeah.
And the snow's not going anywhere.
No.
It's here to stay.
Yep. Yeah, there's no quick dump and we'll see you later. No. Yeah, so we got lots to talk about. Millar making moves again, working his magic, but unfortunately we got to start the show on a low note. A Pats alumnus passed away today, or found out today, didn't we, Kevin?
Yeah, Jim Minor, one of the 1974 Memorial Cup Championship guys. He passed away. He was drafted in the NHL. Didn't actually play, but he was a key part to the 74 team. He passed away November 12th. It's unfortunate that another one of the 74 team is gone, especially just after having their 50th anniversary.
Yeah.
It's too bad, but such is life, I guess. It's unfortunate.
No.
Condolences to the Minor family and their friends and stuff, I guess.
Yeah, so they're, obviously they're getting up there in age, and obviously the next one that we're going to talk about, a local ref and from the WHL and NHL, Mike Hazen-France, he passed away at a much younger age, right? So
Yeah, 58 years old. He was a linesman and referee in the Western Hockey League in the 90s. He was I think he won the referee of the year.
Yeah,
just
99,
before
2000
going.
said. Yeah.
Yeah, just before going to the NHL. So
Yeah, we figured 10 plus years in the WHL and then another 14 in the NHL. So
yeah, can't say I was a fan of his when he was here, as I'm not a fan of any referee. But at least with him, you knew what you're going to get. Every game was called the same. There was no inconsistency with Mike. I appreciated that, but I can't say I liked him.
Yeah,
I can't say I liked him.
That's the least you can ask for, right? So
Yeah, exactly.
I'd rather
And
have
he
that
proved
than,
it. He was a linesman, turned ref, and then he ended up in the NHL for a pretty long career. So
yeah. You don't go to the NHL and spend that much time there if you're not good, right? So
exactly, yeah. Condolences to him and his family, not to him, but his family.
Yeah, so yeah, it's tough to start off with, but we got lots to talk about here. Yeah, Wednesday. Go back to Wednesday. It was quite the day. Going to the game, just expecting to watch, a good Tri-City team come in to town, but
Yeah, see how the Pats stack up against them.
yeah. But first we sit down in the press box and try to catch you into warm-ups, and Rohan, the social media guy for the Pats, mentions that he hasn't seen
Where's Howie?
Yeah.
Where's Howie? He's not out there.
We're like, oh,
What?
He's like, I've got him in the starting lineup. I already tweeted it out.
Yeah, because he was on the lineup, and then he was in the starting lineup. Like, what's going on?
So all of a sudden, word comes about that he has been scratched, and Rohan's putting out a new lineup, and then that goes out, and
social media kind of started getting a little bit of a buzz.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden rumors started flying, some true, some not so true, and the not so true part, whatever it is, it is what it is. I guess if you feel like throwing that out there before you know what you're talking about, then it looks, there's egg on the face of some people.
Yes, exactly.
It.
These aren't like the NHL insiders, those guys, the ones that always make up trades as they go and maybe get one right here and there.
Yeah. But and then you hear in the upcoming interview that we have with Keets Fawcett, he found out that he was part of this deal, or potentially part of this deal via the internet. He and Hamilton were out for dinner, and Hamilton got the call. And then they started looking at their phones, and then he sees his name. So that's too bad.
That's brutal. These guys aren't professional hockey players. Like,
no,
the professionals,
it's not their job.
Professionals, if they don't have a no trade clause, no movement clause, you can be expected to get traded at any moment until the deadline.
Yeah.
Junior hockey players, they don't expect it. Well, we find out that Hamilton was going to get traded, but Fawcett, he had no idea.
No.
All of a sudden, he sees his name on the internet, and then, bammo, he's traded. It's like, that's harsh.
Yeah, it is. But, and I mean, I don't think Howe might not even known he was going to get traded this early. I think he was smart enough to know that he was probably going to get moved at some point this season.
Well, he was getting ready for warm-up.
No,
so he didn't expect to get traded.
No.
He was getting ready to go on the ice.
No. And, Millar, when you hear him talk about, we're going to put the presser in, and when he talks about it, it was kind of a deadline. Calgary put a deadline in, and if the Pats wanted Reece Hamilton, they had to get it done right then and there, basically.
Yeah, right down to the wire.
So, and I mean, Al states his case and why he made the deal, and I mean, to get a player like him, they don't come on the market very often. A 17-year-old, a top pick, 4th overall in the draft.
Especially at this day and age, they don't come on the market at all.
Yeah, right. So now you have the 4th pick in Hamilton, the 5th pick in Temple. That's kind of your building blocks for the next 2+ years here, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So, I mean, we can get into the details of the trade now, and you've liked what you've seen from him already. We both like Fawcett. I really liked it. I noticed him last year.
Yeah, as soon as the first time I saw Fawcett, I was like, I wish the Pats had a guy like him.
Yeah, now they do.
And now they do.
So, and he's already scored in the Friday night game. He's a nice little addition. And he'll be here for another year plus.
And he won't fill in for Howe, but he'll soften the blow somewhat.
Yeah.
And if he could put up like 15, 20 goals the rest of the way, that'd be beautiful.
Yeah, just add another skill guy. Like, he's not, the top end skill guy, but he's not.
We don't know that though. He scored 19 goals last year.
That's true. He had 19 last year. Yeah.
So you never know.
He does have skill. We just where is that potential lead to, right?
And the Pats don't score very many goals, so hopefully
any help they can get
score some goals.
Yeah, for sure.
And unfortunately, Saturday night that didn't happen, but we'll get to that in a bit.
But to get those two guys, no first-round pick, but
which is unfortunate. But Hamilton was a first-rounder. That's ready.
He's ready to go, right?
Yeah,
like I said, it's tough to get those players in a trade.
Yeah, 17-year-old veteran first-rounder.
Yeah, like they get a couple picks, a third in 25 and then a second not till 27. We'll say they got a first in 26. Well, he's not playing till 28.
Yeah, so
that's 4 years down the road.
Everybody will forget about this trade
by
that point in time.
So, everybody's like, oh, there's no first, or, there's rumors about a first and it didn't happen. But this return, I think, is more than adequate, So,
I'm not gonna complain about this trade.
no.
Because
looking.
Hamilton will be here for 2.5-ish years.
Yep.
Fawcett, a year and a half, 2 maybe, depends.
Yeah, maybe
because he's
right back to
18,
20.
so
Yeah,
exactly.
you never know.
And Howe will most likely be gone because he's signed. So end of the season he'll be playing pro, most likely.
There's a pretty small chance of him coming back as a signed 20.
Exactly. It's
often.
very, very, very rare. If at all, I don't.
Yeah, and then Millar gets into moving Howe now. Well, he's going to be gone to camp, Team Canada camp, and then if he makes team, he's going to be gone even longer. So he's going to miss a bunch of games if he makes the team. If he doesn't, he'll miss a few. So for them to make that deal now, they get both these guys in the lineup now, and they're not going to quote unquote miss Howe for those games. They've got guys here instead of missing Howe. So getting this deal done now, it works out that way too. So rather than waiting until January. So
Howe leaves the Pats tied for 50th all-time in goals, tied for 33rd in assists, and 40th all-time in points.
Yeah, and if
which is
pretty
impressive.
The season, he would have been right up there.
Yeah, exactly. He would have moved. Yeah. He would have moved up pretty much every category. Well, all those categories for sure.
Yeah. A very productive, player right from the start. Right, as a 16-year-old, he had such a good season. A 16-year-old, obviously playing with Bedard, and the 17-year-old season, taken over after Bedard. So, but
he will be missed here for sure.
Definitely, end of an era.
End of an era for sure.
Yeah, I mean, who do you think maybe takes over that C? You think?
Honestly, with the timing of this trade, there's still 2 months left almost before the deadline.
Yeah,
month and
weeks.
Yeah, month and a half or whatever.
Yeah.
Lots of moving pieces still potentially happening.
No,
so
for sure, maybe they wait till after the deadline and then
rename
it, because you never know.
They do.
What's going to happen?
If they do wait till after the deadline, or just hold off and just have A's.
Yeah. For this season. Because I think basically anybody comes asking for an 18 plus on this team, 18, 19, 20, I think you got to look at moving them.
Is it a good enough deal to deal or not?
Yeah, right.
It's unfortunate. It's just how it is with this. The rebuild.
But I mean, Millar's a pretty smart guy. He's made some good deals already.
If
he sees a deal he likes, he's not going to pass it up, right? So,
and there is going to be at least one more deal because Corbin Vaughn's sitting at home waiting to get traded. So there's going to be one for sure. Who knows what else?
Yep. I mean, yeah.
Still a lot of moving parts. It's still, like we said, 6 weeks or so till the deadline.
Yep. So I mean, you're looking at 5, 6, 19s right now. So only 3 of those are coming back next year.
Yeah.
So there's no point in losing 3 of them for free or for nothing.
Exactly.
If you can move 1 of them or 2 of them for something, that's better than nothing, right?
For sure.
So. But yeah, that was a kind of a wild Wednesday into Thursday.
Especially all the rumors online and not knowing the deal and people speculating. My phone blew up. I probably had 10 people messaging me. He's like, did Howe get traded? Is he sick? Blah, blah, blah. I was like, I don't know anything.
Yeah, we're watching a game here. Like
we're trying to watch it and trying not to go on social media, and all you see is people speculating, oh, what's this, what's this, and this, and this.
Yeah. So
I feel bad for the kids involved. I don't feel bad for people breaking the trade that had the extra pieces
and weren't right. And
exactly, I feel bad for the name that was mentioned on the one trade that didn't get traded yet.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's too bad. But anyways, we should get into these interviews. We got Alan Millar, the press conference Thursday afternoon, right after the deal was officially completed. And then we've got Keets Fawcett from Friday's game. Dante interviewed him. And then Saturday's game, the Reece Hamilton interview got aired. I don't know how many people heard that one. The radio station was having problems putting out the broadcast. There was elevator music for quite a bit of the first part of the game. I was trying to listen to the game before I was able to flip it on CHL TV, but you said you had no problems listening. Obviously, that was in-house broadcast, so...
Yeah, WHL or the CKRM online was working fine, and it cut out on the CHL TV a few times, but it didn't mess up that bad at any specific times or anything like that. No, not for any length of time.
Yeah, so I was trying to listen to the radio on my phone, so not over the air, like actual online, and it was not doing too well, so wasn't able to listen to the first part of the game, but yeah, so we got those interviews. Meet the two new guys and then get Al's thoughts here.
Al, do you have anything you just want to start off by saying, or just right into the questions?
Yeah, I think the most important thing for me to say to start this off this morning is to thank Tanner Howe. And obviously it's, as I mentioned in the release, it's an important move for our franchise, but very difficult when you're dealing with a very good player, but a quality person in Tanner, our captain. My relationship with Tanner goes back to him playing under 18 Worlds as an underage, and I have tremendous respect for him. How he prepares, how he leads. I think the world of Tanner Howe as a young man, and I thank him for his time with our hockey club. Wish him the best in Calgary, wish him the best beyond with the Pittsburgh Penguins, and I can't say enough about him.
What's that conversation like with a player to tell, like a guy like Tanner's been here, so active in the community, and telling him that he's been traded? What's that like as a GM?
It's difficult. I think it was even more difficult because of the deal coming together so close to game time, and having to pull him out of the lineup. I apologized to him. I would have liked the process to be a little smoother, but he handled it like a pro. I think Tanner is a smart kid. I think he saw the writing on the wall at some point. I'm not sure that he thought it would have been in the middle of November, but I think he knew that there was a good chance that he probably could have been moved. And like I said, he handled it like the person he is and the pro that he is, and the great pro that he will be.
That leads to my next question. Just how quickly did this come together? Has this kind of been on bubbling for a little bit here, trading Tanner?
It came together fairly quickly. I think we started talking about Reece Hamilton late last week with Calgary. It culminated in some different discussions. We had conversations with Calgary yesterday that indicated that Hamilton was going to be moved yesterday. They had a priority on the deal we were talking about, but had made it clear to us that if we decided to pass or move on, that he was going to be moved in another deal. We collectively as a group, talked, evaluated the trade, continued to do our homework and research, and we had a deadline with Calgary at about 6:15, 6:30 last night, or they were going to move on, and we decided to move forward. We just felt that, I'll start with the draft capital, continue to add valuable draft capital to what we're trying to build here. I think Dante states it in the release. We now have 15 picks in the first 3 rounds of the next 3 drafts. That includes 5 first-round picks, 6 second-round picks, and 5 third-round picks. That's going to give us, great flexibility and great options. When we got to a point where a player like Keets Fawcett was in the deal as an 18-year-old, had a great rookie season, set 19 goals last year, plays the game hard, skates well, softens the blow on taking Tanner Howe out of our lineup, and keeps us somewhat competitive this year. And then when it came to Hamilton, 4th overall pick in the Bantam draft, played, was with the under-18 team in April at World Championships to get that experience, won gold on the Hlinka team, highly rated for the NHL draft, playing in next week's CHL USA Top Prospects game. Players like that don't usually come on the market at 17 years of age, and we just felt with what we're doing here and the fit in terms of our blue line moving forward, that we had to move forward and capitalize on the offer that was made and the situation with Hamilton being part of it.
Did Hamilton need a change of scenery, or what was the sort of decision to move on? I know you can't speak for them, but why was he made available?
I can't speak on that, Taylor. I think, if you look at what Calgary's done here of late, since the start of the season, adding Hvidston, recently adding Kalen Parker, now being aggressive in adding Tanner Howe, I think that you can see that they're being aggressive in terms of trying to contend this year. My focus on Reece Hamilton and Keets Fawcett, regardless of the start of their seasons, is what they do starting tomorrow night in Swift Current.
When you mentioned the timing, and some would say, oh, you could have waited until closer to the trade deadline in January. What does that speak to the players that you're getting back and maybe advancing that timeline?
It really boiled down exactly to what you said, is that we collectively made a decision to entertain moving Tanner Howe before the World Junior Selection Camp. I feel comfortable in saying that I believe Tanner will be invited to that camp, and I think he has a real good chance to play on that team. So in essence, for our hockey club, if Tanner played on the World Junior team and we were going to move him, he wouldn't play another game for us after he left for World Juniors. So we talked about the strategy around adding the assets that potentially could come from a Howe trade, get them in our lineup earlier, and having those assets to help us prepare for our deadline without concentrating on Howe and the fact that he wasn't going to play another game for us could be valuable. So a little bit of a long-winded, but in terms of coming around to that, but it really boiled down to the fact that yesterday we had a deal on the table that we really liked collectively with the draft and the players, and essentially we had to make a decision if we wanted to move forward. If we didn't move forward yesterday, then Reece Hamilton wouldn't have been part of a future deal.
The players that are coming back, it's a bit of a homecoming for one. What's their response been to the move being made? I'm sure there's probably some shock and absorption of the news.
Their response has been great. They're very excited. Reece has a history with a lot of people in our organization. Tristan Fry through spring hockey, Dale Durkach, playing with Dale's son Dace. We know Reece and his family very, very well. Obviously he's been around the Hockey Canada people for a while. Got great information from them. Lots of good things there and a homecoming for him. He's really excited. And I think Keets Fawcett, similar. He's an Alberta kid. Obviously had a great 17-year-old year. Not got off to the start maybe as expected based on what he accomplished a year ago. But seems like a guy that's really excited, and talking to him and his agent last night, really excited for a fresh start and getting to Regina and being around our group.
Welcome back to Bennett Dunlop for Regina Pats Hockey here on 620 CKRM. I'm Don Tidicari, and I'm pleased to be joined with one of the newest players on the Regina Pats roster, and his name is Keets Fawcett, who comes over via trade from the Calgary Hitmen. And Keets, thanks for taking the time. You're making your Pats debut tonight here in Swift Current, but before we talk about that, I just wanted to maybe have you take us through what Wednesday, Thursday was like for you, getting told that you're traded with Reece to Regina. I know things got leaked on Twitter maybe a little bit earlier than people would have wanted, but what was the last 48 hours like for you?
Yeah, it's been super hectic. I was actually with Reece when we found out. We were out eating, and he got the call that he got traded, and then we seen it on Twitter that I was in there, and I was kind of like, is this true? And I called my agent, and he made a couple calls, and we figured it out, and then we were both really excited to be coming together as a package deal. We're pretty good friends, so it's exciting.
So I guess I know from what Alan Millar talked about with the media yesterday that the Hitmen were shopping Reece and that obviously they were going to move him no matter what, but did you have any sort of an idea that you were potentially going to get moved?
No, I didn't really have any of an idea. I thought it could have happened, though. Obviously not the best start for myself, so I was prepared for anything to happen, but it was quite a shock.
You had a really good season last year with Calgary, over 40 points, 19 goals in your rookie season in the Western Hockey League. But the majority of your points, I actually have the numbers, not off the top of my head, but I have them written down. The majority of your numbers, in fact, I believe over half of your points last year were after January 1st. What made you take off in the second half?
I think just like getting my feet wet in the first half, and then obviously made a couple trades, which opened up some opportunity spots, and I think I just took my opportunity and ran with it, and worked well for me.
Yeah, it seemed like every time I watched the Calgary Hitmen, it was just so exciting to see all the young players play last year. I mean, seeing Reece come into his own, and a guy like Ben Kindle as well, and then some of the amazing point streaks that Ethan Moore and Maxime Moranov had last season. What did that do for your development in terms of getting that opportunity to play not only with those players, but it seemed like everybody got hot at the same time?
Yeah, I think we kind of just all came together. We all knew that obviously on paper it didn't look like we were the strongest team out there, but I think we kind of all came together and knew that like this was an opportunity for us all to benefit from, and we all just took advantage of that, and we all kind of came together and took off.
Does it help coming into this Pat's locker room knowing several players on the team? Obviously, Connor Bear was with you in Calgary, and same with Alexei Chichkin.
Yeah, it definitely helps just see some familiar faces and just be more comfortable around the guys. So I think that's big though.
Speaking with Keets Fawcett, now a member of the Regina Pats, played for the Calgary Hitmen over the last, year and a bit. And you were an undrafted player to the Western Hockey League, listed by Calgary. Before that, played 11 games, I believe, with Sherwood Park in the Alberta Junior Hockey League, which is now a part of the BCHL. When did you find out that Calgary was interested in you? And once they listed you, how much did you shift to potentially playing in the WHL?
Well, I was listed by the Oil Kings right after Sherwood Park's camp.
Oh.
And or before or after, I can't remember. And didn't really cross my mind. I was just like, their eyes are on the drafted players. Like, it's going to be tough to make the team. And then I went back to Edge, and throughout the year seeing all my friends that were drafted and stuff, and I was like, the WHL seems like a really good league, like, and that's when I kind of told my agent, like, I'm interested in that. And then there's a few teams that were trying to list me at the Max tournament at Christmas time, and then Calgary ended up getting me, and right from there, I kind of knew I wanted to go there, and then made it happen.
So what was your first camp like with Calgary? Did you make it right away? How did that play out?
Well, not exactly. I mean, I knew I had to work for it and earn it, so I showed up pretty hungry. I mean, I was ready to do whatever it takes to make the team. I was willing to fight, just provide offensively, and that's just kind of that's what worked for me.
For fans that are listening to this interview, they're currently setting up for CWA, which is Agribition here at the Brandt Center. Of course, the Pats beginning an 8-game road trip tonight in Swift Current. They'll head to BC next week. But, you're from Alberta, so are you familiar with some of the stuff that's being prepared here in Regina?
Yeah, no, it's not nothing unfamiliar for sure. I see that stuff going up.
What's your background like? Are you from a farmer family? What was your upbringing like growing up?
Not necessarily a farmer family. Small town, small community. Just spent lots of my time at the arena. Obviously, there was buddies that had farms and stuff. Spent their time out there, but yeah.
Are you much of a cowboy? Are you a fan of this stuff that's going on at the Brandt Center?
A little bit. I mean, it's not my go-to thing, but I wouldn't turn it down if it came.
Grimshaw, Alberta, what is that town like?
It's a town with about, don't even remember, maybe 2,000 people. It's small, but everybody's super close. Everybody knows each other. Some of my best friends are from there, so it's a great community.
What's the hockey talent like there?
It's pretty small. It's died down over the years for sure. It's good to get started and stuff, and before you move away or go over to play somewhere else.
So in the off season, is there ice there, or do you have to go elsewhere?
No, there's no ice there. So closest place would be Grand Prairie, which is 2 hours away.
And is that where you, train during the off season?
Yeah, well, when I was younger, my grandma would drive me every 2 weeks, 2 hours to go and skate every 2 weeks.
All right, last thing before I let you go, you're joining a new team in the Regina Pats. I know you mentioned it earlier in this interview that you may be off to a little bit of a slow start as far as you're concerned. How excited are you to maybe have a little bit of a clean slate tonight in Swift Current?
Yeah, I'm more than thrilled. it's good to get a spark back, and that's what I came here, and that's what I'm planning to do, and just start fresh.
All right, good stuff, and good luck tonight.
Thank you.
Welcome back to Bennett Dunlop 4, Regina Pats Hockey here on 620 CKRM. You're listening to the Leader Post First Intermission Show, and I'm pleased to be joined with one of the newest members of the Regina Pats. I'm speaking with Reece Hamilton before he heads to the CHL USA Prospects Challenge in London early this week. But obviously, you made your Pats debut last night. Were acquired from the Calgary Hitmen on Thursday. Technically, I guess you would have found out on Wednesday via Twitter. Obviously, things kind of went down a little bit different than what we would have thought. But what's the last 48 hours been like for you, Reece?
Yeah, it's been a little bit of a whirlwind. Obviously I was pretty excited when I found out I was coming closer to home and playing with the Regina Pats, and coming along with Keets Fawcett as well. It's definitely pretty cool, and I'm excited for the rest of the year.
The last time you would have wore Pats colors would have been playing at the Brick Tournament with the Saskatchewan Junior Pats. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do. That's probably one of my best hockey experiences of my life, honestly, and playing with a couple guys on the Pats team, on that Brick team, as well as Tristan Fry. So, yeah, that was definitely a pretty cool experience.
Did Tristan and Taylor coach that team?
Just Tristan did.
Okay.
Yeah, he's the assistant coach, and I got to know him pretty well. So we've kept in touch over the last couple of years. So, yeah, I've gotten pretty close with him.
Who else that's currently playing in the WHL or on this Pats roster was on that team as well?
Guys like Braden Smith, Cole Reshny.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Grayson Malinowski. There's quite a few guys that are in the league now that were on that Brick team. So, yeah, I've always stayed in touch with those guys, and it was a cool experience.
I was looking at your Elite Prospects page, and I went down a little bit of a rabbit hole and looked at the Blazers team that you played for that went all the way to the TELUS Cup, and you guys actually won bronze that year. There's a few players in this Pats locker room that were on that team. That includes Braden Smith, and that includes Dayton Deschamps as well. But, I mean, Malinowski was your goaltender. Rain Zacharias, a former Pats prospect as well. Cole Reshny, you mentioned him. I believe Lee Shergott in Prince George. That was a pretty talented team, right?
Yeah, there's lots. And that, I'd say that's probably one of the most special years I've played in my life. That was a pretty cool year. And, like you said, getting to go to Westerns and getting to go to Nationals, it was a really good experience and good team, too.
What sets that Blazers program apart from other programs around Saskatchewan?
I think just the staff they have. They're able to recruit the best players because they have such a good staff behind them. So I think that's the biggest part. And yeah, like you said, they've been a good team for the last couple of years now, winning the league again last year. So they got a pretty good organization over there.
But Zach Moore would probably disagree with you because he played for the Contacts, right?
Yeah, that's right. I remember playing against him a couple times. I mean, Contacts are always our biggest rivals. So, and he was a big part of their team. So yeah.
Looking at that program, a lot of great alumni have come out of there as well. When you decided to commit and play for the Blazers, I'm sure you probably had other options being from Whitewood, not being from Saskatoon. What made you want to go there? Was it the alumni? Was it just the status of the program?
Yeah, I think it was just the status of the program. And like I said before, like guys like Cole Shepard, he's part of the Pats. And, he was a big part of that, and the coaching staff as well. And, just they're a great organization, so it was easy to decide that.
Speaking with Reece Hamilton, and Reece, last year I enjoyed watching you play every time you guys played against the Regina Pats. I enjoyed watching Keets play as well, and I don't say this just because I'm talking to you, but every time I saw you on the ice, I was like, okay, this guy can skate, this guy's a really good player. But you led all defensemen in your age group last year with 31 points in I think 42 games. So how would you assess your season last year? You also scored 8 goals as well.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it was a pretty successful rookie season. We had a super young team with Calgary, so I got lots of opportunity as well. Same with Keets. I think he had 19 goals last year as a first year. So it was a great year.
I wanted to ask you about playing under, now the Everett Silvertips head coach in Steve Hamilton. Yeah. It seems like young players always enjoy playing under him because he gives you guys the opportunity and the ice time, etc. Obviously, wasn't the case this year with the coaching change, but you could see that a guy like Landon Dupont is flourishing under him in Everett, so a great hire. And, just from around the league when he got let go, I know people within the Hitman organization that I spoke to were quite sad because he's just such a great person to work with. So what was it like, playing under Steve?
Yeah, that's exactly like what you just said. He's a great guy. He's a great coach, but even a better guy off the ice. He was always so easy to talk to, and I definitely miss Steve a lot. But yeah, it was a fun year with him.
Well, last night was your Pats debut. How would you, I guess, grade your performance in your first game?
Yeah, I thought it was good. Coming in, you don't really know too many systems, so coaches kind of just said, go out and play the best you can, and you'll learn stuff over time. So it was pretty cool to be in a Pats jersey again since I was 10 years old at the Brick.
Yeah, and I just wanted to ask you just about your connection with Connor Bear. Obviously, you guys both come from Whitewood, Saskatchewan. In fact, there's actually 4 players on this team that played for the Hitmen, Alexei Chichkin as well. So you know a few players. Obviously, Braden Smith and the guys that you played with the Blazers. So it feels like when you walk in that dressing room, it's almost like you know the whole room, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's what made it so easy. I think, like playing with the Blazers, there's lots of guys on the Blazers, the Brick team. And then, like you said, Connor Bear, he's been a close friend of mine since I was in kindergarten. I've went to school with him since I was in grade 8, I think. So, yeah, I've always got close with him and his family and, the rest of the guys in the locker room as well.
Is it nice to see him have some success right now? I mean, he's got 5 goals with the Pats.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's awesome to see. Just growing up, I knew he was always like that. He's always been a goal scorer. So, yeah, it's nice to see Connor have success.
Speaking with Reece Hamilton of the Regina Pats, I just wanted to ask you, growing up, was it just hockey for you, or did you have any other sports that you would have been playing growing up?
Yeah, I actually played competitive baseball from the time I was 3, I think I started and I had to quit when I was 13 because hockey training.
I'm so happy you said that because that's my favorite sport.
Yeah, hockey's always been my favorite, but baseball was kind of my close second. So,
what position were you?
Shortstop and pitcher. It's usually kind of rotated between those two.
What program where would you have played?
I played in Melville through their system there, and then they moved to the South Sask.
So you would have played in the Melville tournament?
Yeah, I did. And I got the opportunity to play up as a U18. I was in U18 AAA, so we won provincials that year. And that was my last year playing. So.
Well, I have some fond memories of Melville. Lost in the semifinals with my U13 team this past summer. Came really close. I think we lost. I forget who we lost to, but some really good teams in that tournament. So that's kind of neat that you said that. Do you feel that has helped with your game as a player? Because one of the topics that I like to talk about with some of our players, and Colton Bridgman talks about this a lot. In fact, he actually helped me a ton with my baseball practices this year. And it's talking to these kids and saying, hey, it's good to play other sports growing up and not just focus on hockey, because I feel like right now parents are like, okay, you got to skate like nonstop. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's kind of the opposite of what you want when you're growing up. I think it's nice to build different muscles in your body, because hockey can wear you down pretty fast. So playing another sport's definitely helpful for your hockey career as well.
Lastly, before I let you go, you've got a huge opportunity coming up in London. How excited are you for that Top Prospects game?
Yeah, I'm super excited. It's an honor for me to be able to go to that and play with my Helinka teammates that I had in the summertime. So it's nice going in there knowing everyone pretty much. So, yeah, it's going to be a good experience.
All right, good stuff. Thanks for doing this. Enjoy next week.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, yeah, there's some good interviews there. I like Al's thoughts. He's the man for the job here, right?
Yeah. For people that are the keyboard warrior, people that are calling him out, it's baffling.
Yeah. No, he's proven like he's won a title in the OHL. He built the base that was Moose Jaw's winning team last year. Obviously with Hockey Canada had some success there as well. So yeah, I mean that's pretty proven. Able to get him into this franchise was a win right there. So and then meet the new players. Hopefully we'll be able to chat with them here soon once they get back off this roadie.
Yeah, we're gonna have a few new guys to talk to.
Yeah, that'll be all right.
Once the deadline hits, we might have quite a few more.
Yeah. Hopefully they trade somebody we've already interviewed that we didn't miss out on. Good thing we got that second Howe interview in.
Yeah.
Here.
Squeeze it in there.
Yeah. So, but
well, hopefully he has a great last half, 3/4 of the season. Hopefully he does well. That if he does get invited to training camp there, the Hockey Canada stuff, and makes it there, and he'd be one of those guys that could fit any role.
Yeah, like
top 6, bottom 6, penalty kill, you name it, he could play any role. So
Yeah, and Calgary should have a pretty solid team. See what their goaltending kind of is the question mark. They're kind of running with some inexperienced guys, but they're building here, so be interesting.
Still surprised. I'm surprised that they're kind of going not all in yet, but they have gone pretty deep in.
Yeah. I guess we'll see how back here. They're back here twice. They haven't been here yet this year, have they?
No, I don't think so.
Unless he's gone when they.
Exactly, but hopefully we'll see him.
Jan 5, so maybe not, and then Jan 19, so we'll see him then for sure. Yeah, maybe we request him in a way. Never requested a visiting team or a coach or player before, but we'll see what happens.
Maybe we'll have maybe. I'm sure he talked to us.
Yeah, I mean, especially
he knows us. He likes us.
It'd be nice if he makes the team. It'd be nice to get an interview with him on the 19th. So
he knows us. He likes us. I think.
Yeah.
I hope.
He's friendly.
We were nothing but nice. We did what we could to be as good as possible, as kind as possible.
So the next question is who's gonna take the place of the Howie's hundreds? PTS gonna have to have or find a new kind of the promotion to rep there.
I don't know. Like are they gonna wait to the deadline? Or are they gonna pick random Pat's bucks or something like that?
Yeah.
So if anybody scores, because they're not scoring a ton of goals.
No, unfortunately.
Because Howie's hundreds was points.
Yeah.
So maybe they'll just whoever scores goals, they'll put money towards it. I don't know.
Yeah, they'll do something. They got a little bit of time. Pats aren't back home here for a while, so the marketing people can get the wheels turning here.
Yeah, hopefully they'll figure out something.
Anyways, we should talk about these 3 games that the Pats did play this past week. Tri-City, there's an interesting kind of game once everything shook out. The Pats obviously knew.
It didn't shake out. It was shaking out as it was going.
Yeah. So obviously the Pats, the team knew that he was traded before they hit the ice for the game. I seen Spencer and Whitehead were literally waiting for him to hit the ice for warm-ups. They were waiting,
to do their
fist bump or whatever.
Yeah, their superstitious fist bumps.
One said to the other, well, he's in talking with coach, so we'll just hit the ice without him, and then we'll catch up later. Well, yeah, that didn't happen. So the Pats had that going on. Now, on the other side, Tri-City wasn't able to get to Regina the night before.
Bus troubles.
Yeah, they slept on the bus somewhere between Swift Current and Regina. They didn't roll in till the late morning, so they
11 o'clock in the morning. So
they were kind of had the bus legs, bad sleep, but
thankfully they did, because I think that might help the Pats just a little bit.
Yeah, the Pats could both take any help they can get right now.
Yeah.
So the Pats battle out. They get a point out of Tri-City. I mean, they came back. They were down. They came back. Nice to see that. Just some resiliency there.
Two of the nicest goals you'll see from an opponent. Garland's goal and Gavin's goal. Just
unreal.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, those just jump out at me. They were unbelievable. But yeah, just to go to the shootout and a little bit of being unlucky there. Spencer hits the post dead on, and then Wynot comes back and scores on their only shot on goal. Like the first 3 shooters, totally lost the puck. They didn't even have a good shot.
They lulled Pine into something.
So that's kind of funny.
Lulled him to sleep, missed the net, and that's too bad.
Yeah, it is. But I mean, you get a point, whatever. The Pats will take any point they can get.
A point against the second best team in the league is pretty impressive.
Yeah, despite all the noise on both sides, kind of this craziness of a.
But the noise, like you said, the noise, I couldn't imagine the noise that was going on there. Like just the uncertainty now that Howe was gone, how the other players feel, like the 18, 19, 20s, like.
Yeah, right, for sure.
What's next?
We said anybody can go. That's I think that isn't bolted down per se.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, and I mean, we go back to last week. Brandon with all the noise in that weekend, and them being able to pull out 3 points in Brandon. It's nice to see.
Exactly.
Them battle through some adversity. I mean,
they are resilient.
Unfortunately, it didn't carry over to the weekend.
No.
again, giving up the first goals of the game, and then you give up 3 in a row, and you're down 3-0. That's tough, but I mean, they made a game of it. They come back. You know, you're 3-2 going to the third period, but to give up that fourth goal on a penalty or on a power play that was a offensive zone penalty by a veteran, unfortunately, to give up a fourth goal, like I said, the Pats are resilient, but to ask them to score 5 goals a game is real tough for this group, especially when you lost your leading scorer, right? Or
your leader.
Your leader. So,
and
they made a game.
You're not going to score 5 against Reed Dick.
Yeah, they scored 3, but
without some other goal scorers in the lineup. Like the Pats have trouble scoring goals, period. Other than like the 8-goal game they had, they don't score. Like you need to score 4 pretty much every game, and the Pats are having trouble scoring 4. But they weren't outplayed that bad. Howe, I'm sure, would like a couple goals back.
I mean,
but he didn't play terrible.
He didn't. Yeah, no, he hasn't played terrible. He had that good outing in Brandon, so it's nice to see him. I mean, yeah, he ended up giving a 4, but I mean, it's not the worst night, right? So, but I mean, and then you kind of just roll into the PA game, and it's like, okay, they literally didn't have anything in PA.
No, that was just not a good game.
No, I mean, it was only 3. Not 3, but I mean, it was 3 in the second, right? Like, just, yeah.
It was a pretty good first period.
Okay. It was. See, I didn't watch it.
It was pretty good. Back and forth, pretty even. Second period, each team had 17 shots. I don't know about that. Seems pretty high. But the Pats just couldn't buy a goal against Hildebrand. It was Hildebrand shutting the door on the Pats, and it just kind of.
Yeah, in the third period, it didn't look pretty. You know, down 3-0, and then, yeah, the PA gets a couple late ones, but whatever. That is what it is. But the game was over by then already, unfortunately. But yeah, so and I mean,
Hildebrand seems to have the Pats number. I don't know what his exact record is or anything like that against the Pats, but he seems to have their number.
Yeah, and I mean, both these teams are starting to heat up. Swift Currents has been pretty consistent lately. PA's really heating up here. They've come along after
getting back to where people expected them to get.
After
I think
a pretty rough start that they had. I think by most people's standards, maybe a little better than that, but yeah. So,
just looking at the standings right now, they have 21 points, and they're in 9th. But Medicine Hat's in 2nd in the conference, and they have 27.
Yeah.
And Swift Current has 28. So they're only like 5, 6, 7 points out of 2nd in the conference. So it's pretty much the top 9 teams are going to be battling it out.
Yeah. I think, and then Regina is going to be tough to make the playoffs, I think, especially once you say you move a couple more guys, right? You know, get a little younger. It's going to be tough, but you know, we'll see what other teams do. Like Saskatoon might make some moves. They might pull a Wenatchee. You know,
Saskatoon's got 2 guys that they have to move. They need to get some draft capital.
Yeah, they've got nothing.
Lazowski and Molendijk, pretty much, I don't know, guaranteed to move, but I would say they're guaranteed to move.
Yeah, it's tough.
And Moose Jaw's got Jaeger that they got to. I'm sure is like coveted by a few teams. So
yeah, that could be a little bit of a bidding war, kind of a trade deadline bidding war kind of thing. See what happens there. But yeah, Saskatoon, you know, it's tough to trade away when you're in first place, but that's what Wenatchee did last year. You know, they make the playoffs in the 4th seed. Unfortunately, they went out in the first round, but they just had to recoup those assets because they were too bare to make the long-term situation work, right? You don't want to be bad for years on years, right? We all know how that's going.
No, we don't.
Yeah, and then the road trip. I mean, upcoming, like you roll into which one was it first? I can never remember.
Kamloops on Friday,
Kamloops
Kelowna on
first.
Saturday.
Yeah, and both. Well, the whole road trip, all the teams are over 500, right? So it's going to be a tough.
Yeah,
a tough
500,
grind.
basically 500 or better.
Yeah.
Well, Kamloops is
Kamloops-
one game under, but
yeah,
still
they're kinda-
basically 500.
It's surprising, maybe a little bit. You know, you don't expect them to be in the basement this year, but they're kind of making the comeback after, the Memorial Cup run hosting. So, and then Kelowna's starting to really pick it up. They, obviously missing Naginla and Crystal at the start of the year, but they're both back in the lineup, and then Crystal was just player of the week. He's real hot, so that's going to be a tough one. And then, like I said, the whole, this road trip is always tough, but
The whole road trip is going to be tough.
yeah.
Get to see what they're made of.
Yep. I mean, got some new guys. Get some of them into the groove this week before they hit the road. See what happens. I mean, we can just
Well,
hope for
Hamilton won't be there because of the
top
WHL
prospects.
or the CHL USA prospects games. So
Yeah, a reason to watch Tuesday and Wednesday night, and then he'll have to meet the team somewhere out west after he's done there.
well, Wednesday probably get to Kamloops for Friday. So I'm assuming he'll be in the lineup for Friday.
Yeah, oh yeah, he'll be there. He just
Be a little later than everybody else.
I might beat him there. If he
Potentially.
flies right there, and then everybody will be on the bus.
Yeah, because
Yep.
they leave on Wednesday. So
They'd get in Thursday late sometime.
yeah.
He'd probably fly out Thursday morning. So who knows? But yeah, that's a reason to watch Tuesday night, Wednesday night. Pats now have a top prospect. Craig Button listed him as 50 on his latest rankings. So
Yeah. So
second rounder ish.
first second round.
Yeah.
See how the rest of the season goes. So hopefully he can move up, way up. Be awesome. I can't wait to see his progress. I want to see him live at home.
Yeah. Focus on him, right?
Yeah, get
It's
to
kinda
actually
tough
watch him.
Yeah, so when these teams come in, sometimes it's hard to focus on which guy do I want to kind of like check out, right? Like it's tough to see a whole team, and especially a team you don't see often, right?
And
Not a
it's hard to
division team.
watch the WHL live or CHL live,
Yeah,
whatever,
it's-
because you can't see the whole game. You just see what's on the screen, and sometimes
Yeah.
the camera's pointing over at something, or they got the jackpot for the 50-50 on the screen and showing the replay of something that happened 75 times, like that high stick that they thought they were reviewing, but it was actually the Pats got a 4-minute power play.
Yeah,
They thought it was the other way, and they showed that replay probably 30-40 times, just like over and over and over and over and
know.
over. It's like, what's
I
going
hadn't-
on?
I hadn't turned on the game video at that point yet, but it was like my buddy messaged me. He's like, "Oh man, we should have had a 4-minute penalty, and then we got a 4-minute power play." And I was like, "Oh, I missed it, right?" So
Yeah,
I
we
was
should have definitely had a penalty for sure. I don't know about 4, but there should have been a penalty.
okay.
But then the linesman called a penalty against them, and it ended up being 4. But they reviewed it because the game was so fast. It was just going and going, and also just, I don't know. It was like 6 minutes on the phone with the video guy. So it
Jeez,
was
wow.
like, it was a long time.
Yeah.
Good old Homer.
Yeah, and then you can't see the numbers sometimes, especially if you're trying to watch their opposing players. It's tough to see who's who, right? You know your team, you know the Pats, you know how they skate, you know which guys are which.
Sometimes it's hard to tell with the dark numbers on the dark jerseys, like the red
Yeah.
on the blue.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's hard to see, especially when you have 2 or 3 players that skate similar and similar sizes. But
Yeah. Then a couple of the things I want to bring up. Seems like OXL expansion is here. It sounds like Youngstown and Muskegon from the USHL they had inquired, I think, before the season started, and I think those talks have intensified, and I think sounds like it's unofficially a go for next season.
lots of speculation there, because
Yeah.
I've seen a couple other places that people are suggesting might be involved too.
Yeah.
So
So it'll be interesting to see what shakes out here in this off season. Could be quite the landscape shift,
become the North American Super League or something instead of the CHL.
And then I heard an interview, Jeff Merrick on his new show. He had Dan McKenzie, the CHL president, on, and they were kind of talking a few things, and one thing that kind of jumped out, or he's like, well, we can't stand pat. Like, stuff's changing. We can't just be status quo. And they're talking about Euros. Maybe there's going to be a bump in the Euros because there's a lot more coming over to play NCAA. So maybe the CHL wants to tap into that, right? Or if you're
and the
coming to
Pats
play
have
NCAA,
trouble with Euros because we have one backup,
for 2 spots. Yeah, one backup,
and the other one decided not to come, but he's committed
Yes,
to NCAA.
So he went home and then he's committed. I didn't realize.
I think
that.
he's committed. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's committed. But
Okay. Interesting. But yeah.
So
be lots
who
of
knows,
changes
right?
here coming up, and might take 2-3 years here to shake out and see what all happens, league wise, player wise, movement, and so
A couple years. Look how quick it took this NCAA stuff to go down. It could be quicker than that.
yeah.
Might be
Right.
as early as next year.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think, some new leadership in all 3 leagues. And then, a new head guy. There's, some new ideas. I'm not saying that the old guys, because they were all old, weren't. There was always change, right? And stuff like that. But there's fresh ideas, right? There's 4 new guys leading these 3 leagues. So there could be, not lots of change, but there could be some change for sure. So, but yeah, with that, anything else you got?
No, I think we're good.
Yeah. So, we're out
Wish
a day
Howe
late.
all the best,
Yeah, definitely. That's for sure.
and hopefully he does well in Calgary. Hopefully Team Canada, the whole thing, training camp, the whole thing, win us gold, and then good luck in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, definitely. No, like I said, it's the end of an era. It's unfortunate to see him go, but it's junior hockey. They're only here for a little bit of time anyways, and the good ones, they're going to get moved, right? So.
And the Pats' other import, Nestrasil, he's playing in Muskegon right now,
Okay.
and he's committed to University of Massachusetts.
Oh, okay.
So we'll see. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe it comes. Yeah. I kind of, didn't sign, and I kind of forgot about it, and,
And he's an 07 as well. So
Okay, well, there you go.
he's a youngster. So
There's a lot of 07s on this team. So,
if he was to come, that's another 07. So
jeez, that's a lot. That's a jam-packed age group right there.
yeah.
But anyways, yeah, we should get out of here. Day late, dollar short. I don't know. 3rd time's a charm.
3rd time's a charm, Chris.
But yeah, we had some issues. But hey, we're out. We got all week to talk about this stuff, and then see some late night action this coming weekend and into next week. So stay up late, grab some coffee or whatever. Hopefully this brought some energy for Tim again from PA. Thanks, Tim.
It's hard to get the energy up when it's kind of a downtime. But hey,
I'd love to
do what
talk
we
about
can.
this week. Yeah. So, but anyways, we should get out of here. Have a good night, folks.
Take her easy.